bring us a little bit forward to some of the other actors, and I think we can depart from the United States for now and simply discuss the regional actors. When it comes to Iran, there's been a tremendous amount, not only of backlash within Iran in relation to the American withdrawal from the JCPOA, but starting from January 2018, Iran has seen an avalanche of protests for exactly the same reason that the United States cut off its financial support to the Islamic Republic of Iran vis-a-vis its ending of its relationship through the JCPOA. The Iranian population is simply tired of being poor, and they're tired of their government spending on very expensive international engagements to give money, for example, to Hezbollah in Bahrain, or they have money to give to Hezbollah in Lebanon and to the Houthis, but they don't have money to feed their own people. And inflation is skyrocketing, the price of food is skyrocketing, and from January right until now, there's been outbursts, sporadic violence and demonstrations from one side of the country to the other. And we've been shocked this year also to see in some of the heartlands of Shia radicalism within the Iranian state, in the city of Mashhad, that even in those places, people are getting fed up with a government that has no accountability. And I think that it's very important to look at the internal dynamics of Iran together with what's happening in the region. I know much of the international community focuses on the coalition, on the UAE, and on particularly on Saudi Arabia in relation to Yemen. But it's very important that people know that Saudi Arabia is the largest donor state to Yemen and its reconstruction efforts. For example, the KS Relief is spending, not only has its people on the ground, but is spending billions in reconstructing Yemen in the aftermath of war. And they service, for instance, both Houthi-held areas as well as government-held areas. And so Saudi Arabia is really attempting now to reconstruct the country, even if parts of it are still at war. Yet the Iranians continue to supply with a tremendous amount of weapons to the Houthis to make sure that the embers of violence continue to carry on. It doesn't end there, by the way. The Houthi rebels have already reached out to and have received assistance from Hezbollah. So now that the war in Syria is coming to an end, many of these very battle-hardened Hezbollah fighters are starting to trickle their way to the Yemen. And this is highlighted in an event this year on the 26th of October 2018, in which Nasrallah, the Secretary General of the terrorist group Hezbollah, met with the head of the Houthi militias in Lebanon. And that means that the Houthi travel to Lebanon, they meet with Hezbollah, they begin their coordination, and it seems that 2019 will see an influx of Hezbollah fighters making their way over to Yemen to continue the fight on behalf of Iran. Iran is very reluctant to put its own soldiers on the ground, so it uses its proxies to do so. The same, by the way, in Iraq. The Iranians are very, very active. There's more than 42 Iranian-backed militias operational in Iraq today. And this number is set to be maintained into 2019 unless something very drastic happens. We can say that in some ways the political system in Iraq is settling down after the elections. However, it's still just an incident away from falling backwards into a state of war and political tensions. And the Iranians have enough assets there to continue to keep the fires burning in Iraq for as long as they want. That includes, by the way, specialized Hezbollah groups, which are training not only to fight in Iraq, but have also been training to fight in other places. And now you see this year a very clear emergence of a relationship between the Hezbollah Bahrain and Hezbollah in Iraq. Two militias that are sponsored by Iran are becoming much closer and also are practicing activities and operations in closer harmony with one another. And in Bahrain, you see that the police actions that have been undertaken by the Ministry of the Interior have been very successful in containing most of the violent terrorist groups that Iran is deploying there. But it's not foolproof.